Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH, Beyond Quantum Healing, hypnosis session. I will be reading from a transcript, and Lorrayne, who is the practitioner, will be asking me questions I've prepared in advance of the session. And she will also say when the question is coming from somebody else, one of you guys, or from herself. Otherwise, they are coming from me. When I refer to me, I am talking about myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from 25. All right, let's jump in. Lorrayne, do we have to wait for this thing, recall, to happen before we can leave here? Me. Yes, we want to. We do want to see that. Yes. Lorrayne. Okay, it was only recently proposed. So how long will this take now? How much longer for that to be recalled? Me. It doesn't have to take forever. Claire was thinking like it could take a year. It could take 2 years. She's thinking like bureaucratic timelines. We're not going to be here that long. We don't want to be here that long. We want this to happen. So it will move fairly swiftly, actually. It will be a little bit like the removal of the travel restrictions. For example, Claire was set to come back from Italy on June 15th. And she was expecting to have to do a test. She was very upset about it, especially because her daughter would also have to have the nasal swab done. And they've been avoiding it for years, the entire time. And all of a sudden she's like, oh, I have to do this. Not only I have to do this, but now my daughter has to do it too. And 2 days before she left, the news came that it was removed basically immediately. So it doesn't have to be, now this concept of the recall has to trickle through a bunch of layers, and then it's going to take bureaucratic time, which might be months or whatever. It's not going to happen like that. It's going to happen like a surprise, like this testing thing, where not a surprise as in nobody's expecting it, but a surprise as in it's going to be announced and it's going to happen. It's not going to be a long process. And yes, we're going to see it. We have to see it, but it's not that we have to, we want to see it. This is one of the things we want to see before going, because this is going to culminate everything. Because you see, the point here was that we're telling ourselves a lot of things could not be disclosed because it was scary to many people, especially to have a recall like this. A lot of people who have taken it now could be scared to death. Now, first of all, a lot of people already left. We already said this, and the people that were gone, the people who were going to be the most scared have definitely been gone for a while. But also, we don't have to do this in a scary way. All we are doing is we are saying there are too many side effects, and it was an experiment and it didn't work out. It's not like we're recalling all products of the same nature. We're just saying this one, it was an experiment. It did good things. It did what it needed to do, but too many side effects. Since there is no more emergency, no point in having it. Keep going. That's it. It doesn't have to be a scary event. However, it will show that something that seemed untouchable, that's even been mandated, now we're questioning. And remember what we said, it's always all about the question, because you don't know what somebody's going to take out from that question and in which direction it's going to send it on. And this is what we need. We needed to see for us, for those of us who have known about the agenda the entire time. It's going to be vindication that it's like, look, it can happen. We made it happen. Because the entire time we felt so disempowered, have we not? We have felt like we were helpless. Look at what it's doing. Even Clay had questions about it. Doesn't matter what we want, what we discovered, what we've gone through. These guys, these politicians keep pushing ahead as if nothing happened. Doesn't matter what the feedback is. Doesn't matter if people are protesting, not working anymore. They just keep pushing the same agenda. Like, for example, now it's climate change again, because, it's the flavor of the month. And so it becomes very disheartening. And so what this recall is going to do is going to solidify the fact that even though there's a lot of talk about all these things that they want to do, the truth is what is actually happening in real life. Of course, we say real, quote unquote, but on a 3D level, what is actually true? What comes across as in becomes the law of the land? What is that? And what it's going to be is that This was something that has caused a lot of death, and we're not going to do this again. So guess what? If we were to stay here, this would be a very big lesson for the future. They wouldn't be able to come back and say, oh, we have another emergency. Here's another experimental thing. It's over. That entire agenda is dead. And this is what's happening with the entire, we'll call it the non-typical, atypical flu, because this is all it was. It wasn't a typical flu. It's over. That entire agenda is dead. And this is what's happening with the atypical flu agenda, basically. All of it is dead. All of it has failed. The dark is telling itself that it failed because they hadn't put certain pieces in place, like we talked about the gun control, et cetera, et cetera. Otherwise, they could have borne down more, but no, they couldn't have. It was just not meant to be. Most of the United States, for example, was not meant to experience certain things. There have been other countries that have not experienced these things, like in Africa. So yeah, the dark from a 3D perspective is telling itself, what could have we done differently? What can we learn from this? But the truth is that it's all failed. They're not getting another chance. In fact, the vast majority of the dark has left. There's only 10% of the dark team left here from the original team, and they can barely handle anything anymore. They're a complete mess. Lorrayne, I hope that those who are aligned with the dark are thinking now that this takedown is happening, they're moving on. Okay, CLEA'S question. You've answered, but I'm going to ask again. Is the takedown still happening, and when? Me, yes. So it is absolutely still happening. Nothing has changed. And when? We don't know. It's up to you. Well, it's up to us. When do you actually want to go? And don't tell me as Lorrayne. What does your higher self actually want to do? Now, again, the show that we're watching now, the grand finale, it's not going to go on forever. We don't have to see every little piece played out, but some pieces are going to happen because we want to see them. So for example, we're going to hear about the revaluation now. It's going to become more and more of a recurring theme because not only we already said it's already happened, but now it's going to start trickling down more into the mainstream narrative. Because again, if you think about it, why does it need to be hidden? Now, from a 3D perspective, we're going to know this is coming out because the system is being overhauled. And so now they're not hiding all this information anymore, the mainstream media or whatever it is. Because the people in the know, they already all know that this has happened. This is economic stuff. It's not hidden. People in the country know it, and they were laughing. So yeah, some of the stuff that we've been waiting for is going to trickle down more. And so in that sense, it's really up to us. How long before we get bored again? Lorrayne. Well, to answer your question, my essence and my 3D Lorrayne would really like to go to New Earth. I'm really ready to start playing with pink trees and turquoise flowers. And the 25th was laughing as she said this. But I do have a part of me that is very interested in observing the crumbling and seeing the side of the light have some winds. So mixed, which is why I guess I'm still here. Claire would like to know, when are we going to New Earth, and why do we have to wait for everyone else to be gone before us, since they're no longer moving with their bodies? Me. Yeah, we want to. It's not that we have to wait for them, it's that we actually want to. Now, we already explained, we had agreed that we would be the last group to go, but we're okay with doing this. We're not against it. We're enjoying as much as they are. And we know it's not for a long time. It's not like we're here saying, oh God, now they changed the plan. Now we're stuck. We lost our chance to go to New Earth. It's none of that. So yeah, we don't mind. That's why we're here. We don't mind being here for the time being, for a limited amount of time. And both Lorrayne and 25th were laughing. Lorrayne, thank you. So this question I know was written before we had the knowledge of the impulse altering things. Claire is asking, what are we supposed to do here while we wait? There is no visible revaluation happening. At least it's not making any difference for those who are holding foreign currency. Waiting has been disheartening in view of the delay. Living in the now is proven impossible because of the vacuum and general sense of demotivation and demoralization. We feel stuck and helpless. And again, I wrote this before I actually started feeling better, which I did a few days before this session. So already I was feeling that there was a change. I didn't know why until I had the session and it was explained. Obviously, this is the reason for these questions, because I was kind of down and feeling trapped. I'm like, what is happening now? So, and I know I wasn't the only one. That's why I wanted to leave these questions in, so that it might help explain some of the things you've also felt. Me. Yeah, so Claire doesn't feel like this anymore. And because now that we're sharing what's happening, she doesn't feel like, great, now we're trapped. She was feeling trapped. She was feeling stuck. She was feeling like her choice was now dependent and hindered. So dependent on all these people not leaving, and now hindered by these people deciding out of their own selfish choice not to leave. And that's not the case at all. The fact is, Claire is now actually also feeling more energized, and therefore it's not as cumbersome to be here. And so, yes, I mean, we are still not going to have the ability to exchange our money in real life. Some of us are already able to exchange this money, but not all of us will have this opportunity before we leave. Because again, this is not going to last forever. We're not going to be here forever now. And so just continue doing what you've been doing. Now, we understand that many have put off 3D chores or 3D things or projects and so on. Start them again, or keep going, or move them forward. Basically, keep yourself occupied. Whatever it is that you feel like you need to do, keep yourself occupied. A lot of your attention will be based on these events we're talking about, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for you to watch. But meanwhile, do your life. You know, if you felt like you had just like let go. Sorry, guys, this was my speech to text. Let go. I'm going to reread this so it's clear. So a lot of your attention will be based on these events we're talking about, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for you to watch. But meanwhile, do your life. You know, if you felt like you had just let go of things because it didn't matter anymore since you were leaving, pick them up again. So you don't feel like you're completely wasting your time or wasting your life, or you're doing nothing, or you're being irresponsible. Pick them back up and go through the motions if you need to, and you will be fine. You will not feel the same ways that you have before, because of this impulse of energy and this interest that's been picked. I'm sorry, that's been piqued by the latest events that you've been wanting to watch. So, you know, you can start things even if you don't finish them. Say, for example, Claire wants to purchase a rental unit, and I think you guys know I'm a real estate investor, so that's what I've been thinking about doing. So say, for example, Claire wants to purchase a rental unit. She can start it, even if she doesn't get to the end of it. Doesn't really matter. It's all about being distracted. It's all about being in the moment, and that's okay. I mean, you guys will never get to do this again. We will never experience this again, so enjoy it. Don't just wait. Don't just, you know, spend the days waiting, you know, twiddling your thumbs, if that doesn't make you happy. And this is I think the mistake I'd made, but again, it was because I had no energy, and I was very much feeling the vacuum, and so everything felt very meaningless to me. And so it was kind of a catch-22 situation. Obviously, that has changed now. Lorrayne, thank you. You told me that I didn't need to do anything, that I was completely done with everything I needed to do, but the sitting and the waiting is excruciating. And the 25th was laughing. So I'm distracting myself. I'm doing a very mundane 3D things because it's better than the waiting. Me, absolutely. Claire has been painting, something that she had given up a long time ago. And all of a sudden, she's finding enjoyment in painting again. And that's what we mean. You don't have to start any long-term projects thinking they're going to go to fruition, that you have to provide for your old age, retirement, and whatever it is. You don't need to do that. There is no need for that. However, if it makes you feel better taking care of mundane things, do them. If it makes you feel better finding a passion that you let go of for a long time and reviving it, do that. And the time will go by very quickly. Again, we're not talking about a long delay here. Again, we don't have a timeline. We don't want to give the impression that we know exactly when we're all going to be done with this experience. But it's not going to be, we're not going to be entertained for very long, even by a certain level of disclosure. And here I would like to make my own disclosure, my own qualification statement, because here it says no need to worry about your old age, etc. I completely understand where they're coming from. I am not really starting any, you know, it's not like I'm here thinking about starting a new business or whatever it is. However, again, we have no proof of this until it happens. we have a lot of hunches, so we connect, et cetera, but the truth is, if you're working, please don't do anything crazy, like you're quitting your job, you don't need to pay your bills anymore. Again, be sensible, right? While we're here, let's enjoy, let's not make ourselves miserable. So if you need to invest for old age, because that's what you do, you're investing for 401k or whatever retirement account you invest in, do it. Please don't take this as financial advice or advice to do anything that goes against your principles or common sense. Okay, they're talking in general, saying, maybe don't be so worried about it, because you might be saving and you might still be worried. Oh my gosh, am I going to have enough for when I'm 80 years old? Maybe you can, chill out a little bit and let up a little bit for the time being, while continuing to do what you're doing without changing anything major in your life. Lorraine. So in other words, you're saying, enjoy the ride. Me, that's what you're here for. This is why. And Lorraine and 25th, we're both laughing here. All right. Lorraine, okay, I have a question. I've noticed that the weather people and weather apps and technologies have been unable to predict the weather as accurately as they were even a week ago. Just last week, they've been totally incapable of predicting the weather. Can you explain what has shifted in that? Sorry, I'm checking my time, guys, because I need to go get my daughter. All right, me. Yeah, it's all part of the fun. Everything is acting what you would consider erratically. And Gaia is having fun. Now, some of it is engineered, but not as much as you might think. And there's just stuff being cleared. And a lot of it is the expectation that things work a certain way. So even though we have jokes about meteorologists only being right 50% of the time, the truth is that generally speaking, they can predict certain things or certain patterns, or, be off a little bit. But generally speaking, like you said, if there's a storm coming, they're normally able to tell. And now they're discovering that everything is up for grabs. There is no linear expectation anymore about anything. Anything can change. Reality can change within a split second, which has always been the case. But in the past, we wanted to believe there was a process to these things in a certain amount of time that things had to take. They don't have to do that anymore. It also has to do with the fact, we've talked about this. In fact, we call this at the very beginning of the session, we call this, I see chaos. When we say chaos, we don't mean chaos as in complete madness, like nonsensical. We meant it as it's almost like a spiral that's being created out of energy and it's accelerating. But really, why do we use the word chaos? Because we don't know what the outcome is. We're creating the outcome as we go. It's a new game. That's the point of these games, that we don't know what's going to happen. We have said this many times. When we came to this planet and we started playing, we had no idea what would happen, because that's the beauty of it. If we already knew what would happen, it would be no fun. You already know how the game is going. Why are you even playing? So this element of surprise is fun for us. We're excited. That's why we're excited right now, despite everything, because finally something new. And this is what's happening with the weather. Everything is new. Everything is being reset up or set up in a new way. Basically, the rules have changed throughout the game. So even the weather, yes. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.